be looking at 2 Kings. Here we go. So in chapter 1, after King Ahaziah of Israel falls and seeks counsel from Baal, the prophet Elijah delivers God's message of judgment, predicting Ahaziah's death, and Ahaziah attempts to capture Elisha, but fails when the fire consumes his soldiers. In chapter 2, Elijah is taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, leaving Elisha to continue his prophetic ministry. Elisha performs miracles, including parting the Jordan River and cursing youths who mock him. In chapter 3, Elisha assists the king of Israel, Judah, and Edom in their battle against Moab, prophesying victory and providing water in the desert. In chapter 4, Elisha performs several miracles, including multiplying a widow's oil, raising a Shunammite son from the dead, and purifying a pot of stew. In chapter 5, Naaman, a Syrian commander, is healed of leprosy by following Elisha's instructions to wash in the Jordan River. In chapter 6, Elisha's ministry continues with miracles, including the floating axe head and the binding of the Aramean army. He reveals the plans of the enemy to King of Israel. Chapter 7, the siege of Samaria leads to famine, but Elijah prophesies that the food will be abundant the next day. 4 lepers discovered the abandoned Arameans' camp and bring news of victory. In chapter 8, Elisha visits the Shunammite woman, and the chapter recounts the reign of King Joram of Judah and the rise of Hazael, king of Aram. Chapter 9, Elisha anoints Jehu as king of Israel, commanding him to destroy the house of Ahab. Jehu fulfills his prophecy by killing Jezebel and the remaining descendants of Ahab. Jehu, in chapter 10, continues to purge Baal worship in Israel, killing the prophets of Baal and executing those who worship him. Al-Thaliah, the mother of Azihah, seizes the throne of Judah, but Joash is hidden and later crowned king, leading to Athalah's execution. Joash repairs the temple and restores proper worship in Judah, and the chapter also details the reign of Joash and his efforts to collect funds for the temple in chapter 12. In chapter 13, Elisha dies and his final prophecies are recorded. The chapter also recounts the conflict between Israel and Aram. In chapter 14, the reign of Amaziah in Judah is described, along with the military successes and failure of Israel under Jeroboam II. In chapter 15, this chapter covers the reign of several kings, both in Israel and Judah, highlighting the political instability and idolatry that plagued both kingdoms. In chapter 16, King Asa of Judah seeks help from Assyria, leading to further idolatry and the construct of an altar in the temple. Chapter 17, the fall of Israel and the Assyrians, is detailed, emphasizing the consequences of disobedience and idolatry. In chapter 18, Hezekiah becomes king of Judah, enacting religious reforms and successfully resisting the Assyrian siege of Jerusalem through prayer and faith. In chapter 19, God delivers Jerusalem from a Assyrian army, and Hezekiah received the message of reassurance from the prophet Isaiah. In chapter 20, Hezekiah falls ill but is healed after praying to God. He is granted an additional 15 years of life, but his actions lead to future consequences for Judah. Chapter 21, Manasseh becomes the king of Judah and leads the nation into idolatry, reversing the reforms of his father Hezekiah. Chapter 22, Josiah becomes king and discovers the book of the law, leading to significant religious reforms and a covenant renewal with God. In chapter 23, Josiah continues his reforms, destroying idols and restoring power of worship to Judah. But the chapter foreshadows the impending judgment due to people's unfaithfulness. In chapter 24, the Babylonian invasion begins, leading to the exile of the people of Judah. Joachim is taken captive and Hezekiah becomes king. And in chapter 25, the fall of Jerusalem is described, including the destruction of the temple and the exile of the people to Babylon. The chapter ends with a note of hope regarding Joachim's release from prison. These summaries provide a concise overview of the key events and themes in chapter 2 Kings, highlighting the spiritual discipline of Israel and Judah and the prophetic ministry of Elisha. That being said, I hope that this was enlightening. Stay blessed and never stressed, with much peace, much power, much love, much light, and of course, much joy. See you guys next time.